Our next speaker is Austin Benish. He's Key Account Executive at RealmFive Ag, and he has experience and success in ag technology, crop input management, market development, and strategy communication, which he's going to communicate right now.
Poorly, possibly.
Yeah.
Thanks, Norm. Can I expand this?
Yeah. Just,
Hey, cool. Thank you, Norm. And thanks, Aaron, for the nice little lead in there as well. So what I put together, for this, and really what I wanted to do is kind of give an example of what we do. I know not everybody is a swine producer in here, although we do have some partners in the room who are. We enjoy working with them, but we do a lot of other things at RealmFive, which I can kind of get into. I may not talk for 15 minutes, so I'm sure people will be disappointed. But one of the things that we do, we were founded in 2015, and we're based in Lincoln, Nebraska. Really what we do in a nutshell is we take very difficult to solve problems and we apply technology to those in the ag space. We apply technology to them to bring about a solution and really provide some decision points for agriculture. This is an example of something that we've kind of put together here recently as we've stepped into the livestock space. The idea here, just to kind of show off, we know that about 90% of barns in the grow finish space in North America are not connected, or they're connected in some analog type way. So how do we get that information out of a livestock barn, for instance, and get that into the cloud? And that's really what we've kind of tackled in the area of the market that we want to tackle or touch on in the livestock space is how do we bring profitability to those decision points? Working with partners, developing ecosystems out, creating a system of not only gathering information but maybe creating some profitability, creating some idea of where to go with that information. This is a timeline of kind of where we are here. So if we go back to 2015, 2016, and kind of on through where we see ourselves going in the future. Aaron touched on, I can actually go back one here. Aaron touched on labor a little bit, and the PhDs loading hog barns. My wife's a PhD. She's got no problem loading pigs. However, she would rather not load pigs, right? And so, how do we get away from utilizing labor at such a high level? And really, as our CEO and manager would say, or boss would say, how do we get people out of the barn? How do we get into a situation where we don't have individuals in the barns, or we don't have individuals in the fields doing some of these more manual tasks, because it's becoming more difficult. In addition to that, some of the problems that we're solving, what we're talking about here, I know today, sustainability and some of the the carbon impact, and finding different areas and different ways of making money on the same, whether it's the same ground, whether it's farmland or in barns or whatever it happens to be. But how do we bring that information into a cloud space, and what do we do with it once it's there? And that's where we enjoy Norm and some of the stuff that we've done with the FBS and look to do in the future, as we align that information, as we align that data. Provide those decision points. So going back to what we do with swine, what we do with livestock in general, we've got some stuff back there that's hardware based. We're combining this sort of IoT cloud-based technologies with some of the hardware that's necessary to pull information out of barns. We're talking air, we're talking feed, we're talking water, just things that are going to provide daily care, but aligning that in a way that just makes sense for producers across the board. We want our systems, all of our systems have to be, as we develop, they have to be simple, they have to be reliable, and they have to be scalable. And so simple to use, simple to access, simple to manage. We can't always have an advisor stepping in there. We want it to be able to be used by the producer on a daily basis across the board. And so, the simplicity is paramount. The reliability goes without saying, but it's not just about reliability in terms of whether it turns on or off with the switch or whatever the case is. It's got to provide information that's pertinent and specific, and it's got to deliver those data packets in a reliable way. Aaron touched on, the context of information, being able to provide context around, what age or volume or number of animals or whatever the case might be. This is where we utilize partners. And so, we don't want to go it alone. We don't believe that there is any one solution in agriculture, whether we're talking about cropping systems or livestock or something else. We don't believe that we're going to be the one company to do that. We want to be part of and help develop out ecosystems of collaboration. That leads to scalability, the ability to scale not just within a particular vertical of agriculture, and this is what RealmFive gets really good at. We don't want to just be a swine profitability enhancement company. We don't want to just be a corn and soybean row crop profitability enhancement group. We want to be able to scale across an enterprise or an operation. And that really kind of gets to the crux of really sort of what we do and who we are. So we work in 5 different verticals, and the verticals that we work in right now, obviously livestock, because I've kind of talked about that a bit, but we also get into the cropping space and agronomy, irrigation, and then the logistics and tracking space. We also have a 5th vertical that we're working with in ag retail that's inventory based. So managing things like grain inventory and grain quality. Maybe it's dry fertilizer, liquid fertilizer, anhydrous ammonia. Being able to pull that information in as part of a sort of a comprehensive view of what we're managing. By taking those 5 verticals and aligning them, those are all great as they stand alone, but it's pulling that information and how do we connect the information between them? Using swine as an example, because we're kind of on this, or I was kind of on the subject, but protein does not exist in a vacuum. Just like grain production does not exist in a vacuum, or anything else that we do. There are other aspects of the industry that are dependent on it and that they feed into. That money moves across verticals, that profitability moves across verticals, and each vertical depends in some way, shape, or form on other ones around them. So instead of compartmentalizing and making things less interoperable, we want to make them more interoperable. We want to be able to share this information to provide those decision points. Right now, we're providing views in each one of these pieces. That information and data all sits together as well. And so we do have some API integrations with the industry. Farm is a great example of that. We've got other ones as well. We think that we're going to see more and more and more of that as we step into these collaborative ecosystems. And that's really what we want to provide. And so people ask us a lot, what does RealmFive do? We do a lot of things. We do a lot of things, but what we're really good at, we're great at connectivity. We're great at accessing information and pieces of agriculture that have not previously been connected to the cloud. And then we're great at being able to pull and align that data with partners across the industry. And I think that's the thing that we're going to see more and more of. There are table stakes elements of that. There are things like mobile connectivity and how are you accessing, where are you accessing, what are you doing with it? Those are all things that we're going to keep up with. But the industry as a whole has had a problem with just compartmentalized, siloed data and information. So as we move forward and develop our ecosystem along with our partners, we're going to see more and more of that. That's pretty much what I've got. Feel free to take a look later on this afternoon or whenever you get a moment. We've got some cool stuff back there to touch, but that's only kind of part of it. Again, we want to be able to access things on the ground, sensor-based information, but then deliver that to the cloud. So we can talk about the connectivity there too.